atheists and great pretenders with empty goals. Pulpit pimps with gossip for a gospel, praying like predators in a holy pose. But I was built for the harder road, with truth in my hand and fire in my bones. My yes is yes, my no is no. No shades of gray. I let it go. I bow my knee to the King I know. He ordained my birth. He made me bold. God's warrior priest. I stand for truth. God's warrior priest. No in between. God's warrior priest. I fear no evil. God's warrior priest. I belong to thee. God's warrior priest. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They seek approval from the mortal crowd, slapping the price tag on a hollow soul. I seek the verdict of the Most High. He called me chosen before I was whole. They chase gold and glitter like a fever dream. Money that got and greed their code. But my code is honor, honesty, and carrying justice down the road. My yes is yes, my no is no. No shades of gray. I let it go. I walk through death, and still I grow. The valley's dark, but I won't fall. God's warrior priest. I stand for truth. God's warrior priest. No in between. God's warrior priest. I fear no evil. God's warrior priest. I belong to thee. God's warrior priest. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They call it power, I call it dust. They build their name on broken trust. But I was made for a higher name. Heaven wrote my steps, heaven knows my claim. I am not shaken, I am not bought. I am not traded, I am not caught. I stand with my father's sword in my hand. His truth in my chest is fire in my step. God's warrior priest. I stand for truth. God's warrior priest. No in between. God's warrior priest. I fear no evil. God's warrior priest. I belong to thee. God's warrior priest. I stand for truth. God's warrior priest. God made me new. God's warrior priest. I fear no evil. God's warrior priest. Because I am Christ. God's warrior priest. God's warrior priest. Are you about that life? Are you worth the thought of your heart? Do you have hot lips, a cold heart, and a stiff neck? Whose side are you on? You straddle the fence. You have a forked tongue with a bitter mouth. Your words cause men to bleed from the inside out. Are you a man or woman who have no soul, no ground? Are you doing the right things for the wrong reasons? Is pimping your purpose what happened to your anointing? Do you have the label of Ichabod? Has the Most High gone on strike against you? You said you believe, but you obey. You said you believe, but you obey. Every day is the chance. Every day is the chance. Every day to turn around, to come back home. Repent, brother, sister. Repent, brother, sister. He loves you still. He loves you still. He still cheers for you. He still believes in you. Repent, brother, He was on the Damascus road, going to kill, delete, obliterate, annihilate, and assassinate believers. But Jesus stopped him and turned him into an ambassador for the gospel. He went from being an assassin to ambassador of Christ. Get rid of the spirit of Pharisees and Sanhedrin council. Stop being a religious atheist. He didn't die so you could continue in sin. He died so you could be in his family. You're better than this life you're living in. Every day is the opportunity to reconcile. Every day is the opportunity to repent. Take the road he gave you. Lay that burden down. Take the road he gave you. Let mercy cry. Repent, brother, sister. Repent, brother, sister. He loves you still. He loves you still. He still cheers for you. He still believes in you. Repent, brother, sister. Brother, sister, brother. I've met many people, famous and common. I've met men and women, honorable and dishonest. But out of the people I've met, the Most High God is the best one I've met. I've met doctors and lawyers, preachers and politicians, models and ballerinas, but none of them took away my pain. None of them stayed with me when everybody else walked away. The Most High God did take away my pain. He took away the loneliness. He held me up when I had nothing left. He's still the one who never let me go. He's still better to me than I am to myself. Oh, he's my best friend. Best friend. He's still better than me. He's still better than I am to myself. Than I am to myself. He's my best friend. He's my best friend. He's been my mother and father, brother and sister, friend and family. He's understood me when no one else even tried. That's why I'll stand by him. He stood by me when no one else would. I choose to stay with him. All these things he's done and continues to do. That's why he's my best friend. The Most High God did take away my pain. He took away the loneliness. He held me up when I had nothing left. He's still the one who never let me go. He's still better to me than I am to myself. Oh, he's my best friend. Best friend. When I was broken, he stayed close. When I was lonely, he spoke hope. When I was empty, he filled my soul. And I can say it, he made me whole. He's still better to me than I am to myself. Oh, he's my best friend. Best friend. He's still better to me than I am to myself. Oh, he's my best friend forever. A very pleasant, good Saturday evening, ladies and gentlemen. Peace, power, and blessings be upon all of you once again. It is my esteemed honor and privilege once again to be able to share with you and present another special podcast presentation. I am so delighted to have all of you on the air with me. It's your man, Apostle Joseph Isaiah Benjamin, aka Joseph X. And one of the reasons why I wanted to come on the air tonight was because the month of August is a very special and a very important month for me. In addition to it being the anniversary of my birth, most high willing, not this Monday coming, but the following Monday, I'll be 43 years of age. And I have been through so much in my life. I really did not know if I would actually live to be this old, given the circumstances of the times that is in our world, the way things are in our world, I should say. I really didn't think that I would live to see my 40s. But I'm grateful to the Most High that he has allowed me to see one more day, and I am forever in his debt without question. And so I thought I would take it upon myself to share with you certain things that I myself have learned throughout my ministerial life. I'm not going to say career, because a career is something that somebody chooses. But this is a calling. And a calling in this case is something that I did not choose. It chose me. And for whatever reason, the Most High chose me to do this. But I was not always the Ronin priest. I was not always Joseph Isaiah Benjamin. As a matter of fact, I'm going to share with you for the next few moments how I started this journey. So this is Roots to Robes. Yeah. Roots to Robes, my reflections of my years in ministry. My official government given name is Joseph Leon Daniel Horn Jr. That's a lot of name. I blame my parents for that. I blame my mom and my dad for naming me such a long name, but that's my name. I was born August the 3rd, 1983, at the Long Island College Hospital here in Brooklyn, New York, but now it is no longer in operations. It is long since shut down. The doctor that delivered me was a man by the name of Dr. Alan Putterman. And the man that delivered me, Dr. Alan Putterman, was a white Jew. This was told to me by my parents. I was born in the afternoon at 12:36 p.m., either 12:36 or 12:38 p.m. I was born on a Wednesday. I come from a background of ministers. My father was a minister. My grandfather was a minister. My great-grandfather was a minister. So I am the fourth generation Baptist preacher. I started my ministerial life when I was 17 years of age. I was a junior in high school. Now, here's the thing. I never wanted to be a minister at all. I had no intention of ever being a minister. I never wanted it. I never claimed it. I had every intention of becoming a baseball player. That was my shtick. That was my thing. That was my obsession. I wanted to be a baseball player. And I wanted to be a player for either the New York Yankees or at that time, the Atlanta Braves. Excuse me. That is what I wanted to be. And every time my parents would tell somebody that I was going to be a preacher, I was like, listen, I was silent about it for a long time, but eventually I just had to tell them respectfully, listen, I'm sick of you two. I'm tired of you always telling people that I'm going to be some kind of preacher. I am not. I repeat, I am not going to be a preacher. I'm going to be a baseball player. Those are my goals. Those are my aspirations. You want me to be a preacher. I don't want this. And besides, I see how some of these people treat my father. I don't appreciate it. So I'd appreciate you, Mom, and you too, Dad. Stop telling people that I'm going to be this preacher. This is something you want me to be. I didn't want this. You want this for me. I don't want this for myself. That's just how it went. That's exactly how I felt. That's exactly what was on my mind. That was exactly what was in my heart. Period. Point blank. I did not want it. And that's exactly how strongly I felt. But over time, that urge and that desire for me wanting to be an athlete, that desire for me wanting to be a baseball player, it eventually died down. It died out completely. It did. It died down. It died out. So, long story short, early in the morning, 11 days after my 17th birthday, that's when I told my father that I was called to preach. I didn't choose this, it chose me. And so I called my pastor at the time by the name of Reverend Jimmy Garner of the Greater St. Matthew Missionary Baptist Church in Canton, Mississippi. Okay. I told him, just like I told my dad, what was going on. And I made it plain. I made it absolutely clear. I am not doing this in and of myself. I did not want to do this. I had no intention of ever doing this. This was something that once more, the Most High, for whatever his reasons are, he is the one that chose this. And he chose this for me. Cause look, let's face it. Let me see who's with me. Brother Clifton, what's going on? Brother Zeal, what's going on the Facebook side? I don't know if you guys are still with me or not, but thanks for tuning in. So the fact is, I'm going around and I'm telling everybody, hey, listen, I've been called into the ministry. I've been called to do this. And people were saying that that's no surprise. This is not a surprise to me. It's this was something that you may not have wanted. This is something that you may not have chosen, but you can't run from a choice that has been made for you, you know. And I preached my trial sermon. I believe it was either September 10th or September 11th of 2000. Either way, it was 1 year before the tragedy that took place um in here in New York on the concerning the World Trade Center. And I have to tell you, folks, I have to be honest with you. Um I've heard the praises and I've also heard the criticisms. I've heard where people say I show promise. There's a great preacher in the making. But then I've also visited the town of Flunkersville. I admit it. I've had some mountaintop blessings, but I've also experienced some valley lows. And the valley lows that I've experienced wasn't always self-inflicted. Now, some of it was self-inflicted, but not all of it. The parts of the valley lows that was self-inflicted was the part where I did not do my due diligence the way I should and have prepared and studied each sermon, each subject. I did not stick to my strengths. I was abrasive and I thought more highly of myself than I should have. At the time, I was a manuscript preacher. And every time I used a manuscript, I stuck to my bread and my butter. That worked for me. I wrote out each word. Every every mistake, I would erase it, right over it, erase it, right over it until I got it right and I felt comfortable with doing that. Then I gradually started using outlines. See, if you're going to preach in the ministry, and if you're going to recite Bible stories to make it relevant to life today, you have to be able to grow and mature and understand that uh, sometimes when you're preaching, it's experimentation. You're going to experiment with different methodologies that you never used before. And over time, I got better with it. Over time, I became more effective. Over time, I became more confident. But see, here's something that a lot of preachers will do for younger preachers, especially if they see the talent in you and they see the promise. The fact is, if they see potential in you, if they see greatness in you, then they're going to be jealous of you. I have encountered jealousy among older preachers. They would not allow me to preach to their people. Now, you're saying, well, they weren't obligated to do it. No, that's true. They were not. But if they were true mentors to young preachers, like they say they were, they would have given myself and other ministers, other younger ministers, the opportunity to exercise our gifts and talents and abilities. So, in this line of work, when you choose to be faithful to your calling, you have to understand something. And one of the things you have to understand is this is not a popularity contest. I have preached in front of crowds, and I have also preached in front of 3, 4, 5, sometimes even 10 people. Whether you preach to 700 people, 400 people, or 10 people, your assignment is the same. You preach it, and you preach it to be obedient to the will and the way of the Father. No one else. Now let me fast forward to 2026, because I have seen a great change take place in these Christian churches, and it is not, I repeat, it is not for the better at all. Especially when it comes down to having a choir. You don't even have choirs anymore, hardly. They've done away with choirs. They've done away with choir lofts. The pulpit doesn't even look like a pulpit anymore. It looks more like a Sunday morning concert. It looks like a Sunday morning concert hall. Preachers are preaching recycled sermons that everybody else has tickled ears. And it's never the truth. It's never something that people need to hear. It's always something that they feel like people want to hear. It's never about administering to the needs of the people. Clifton, what's good, bro? I appreciate you for joining me. And because people really don't understand that when you're preaching the truth, it's not about popularity. It's all about principle. Now, between 2000, when my ministerial career got started, all the way up until now, sanctuaries are no longer sanctuaries. They're concert halls. Sunday morning worship services is no longer Sunday morning worship services because you got bright lights, you got smoke, you got it. It feels like it has the ambiance of a concert. You understand? And because it has the ambiance of a concert instead of Zachariah, what's good, man? Respect to you, man. Thanks for joining. It has the ambiance of a Sunday morning concert. Nobody's getting anything out of it. Good to see you, man. Shalom to you, Ak. And over time, as time progressed, that is when I began to see that the so-called Christian community are really nothing more than religious atheists. Tell you a story. My father and myself and my pastor at the time and my pastor's friend, we were all having dinner. And I was listening to the story about how this pastor was having problems with one of his deacons. And the pastor was taking the church in a totally different direction that was not traditional from the way things were at that time. And it was hilarious. Let me read Brother Zachariah's observations. He says, "Standing strong, my brother, always respect from me to you." Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. And yeah. And one day, that same deacon that was giving his pastor all kinds of problems, his pastor found him having an a forbidden affair. He found his deacon having an affair way out in the cornfield somewhere, man. I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up, bro. You can't. You can't make this stuff up, man. That same pastor that was having issues with his deacon caught his deacon doing doing the deed with a woman that was not his wife in the cornfield, bruh. Now, here was what was going on. The pastor was identified as a missionary Baptist, but he wanted to leave the missionary Baptist church and he wanted to become full gospel Baptist. But the deacon, who was a staunch missionary Baptist deacon, he was a missionary Baptist deacon from his heart, from his mind, from his soul, from his spirit. He did not want his pastor moving away from the traditional movements and the ways of the missionary Baptist church until he got caught doing the do in the cornfield with a woman that was not his wife, man. I'm telling you, you cannot make this up. You can't. And from that point on, the pastor went on and he left the missionary Baptist church and he became full gospel. And the only reason why that deacon went on and stopped giving his pastor all kinds of problems was because he knew that the pastor had caught him with his pants down and his Johnson in a woman that was not his wife. And so he figured that his pastor was going to wind up telling his wife what happened, when it happened, etc., and the whole shebang. True story, bro. True story. And that story I heard, that story I heard, man, when I was a very, very young licentiate minister. And I'm telling you, man, I know, brother Zachariah. I get it, man. I yo, when this pastor was telling me what happened, man, at the dinner table, I almost fell out the chair laughing, man. I did. I almost fell out my chair laughing, man. But little did I know that would be the first of many stories, the first of many stories that I heard about how deacons and pastors were going around whoremongering, going around sleeping around with all of these different women that are not their wife. I'm telling you the truth, man. But I want to get back to the change or the metamorphosis of how the sanctuary was structured back then versus how it's structured now. And to me, the Christian church has really lost its own identity because it seems like they're playing follow the leader. But the problem is the leader that they should be following, bruh, they are not following him at all. They're not. Brother Zachariah says it happens a lot among many so-called Christian people. It's sad, man. And see, here's the thing with me, and I'm just bearing witness to what's going on in my heart and my mind and my reflections in my years of ministry. I really do not want to see these people on the receiving end of the Most High's judgment. I don't. I have seen the Most High punish people. I've seen him in action. And when you realize that something is severely wrong, bro, and the wrongdoing that continues to ensue is not short term, it's long term, and it's extremely perpetual. If they are unrepentant, I know was and you know as well as I do, brother Zeke, we know what the end is going to be for them if they don't repent. And if they don't repent, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. Brother Zeke says, I was raised in the Christian church, brother. I have seen a lot of evils in church. Man, listen. Now, not only have you and I both seen a lot of evils, but I'll be the first one to tell you, bro, I was a part of that. And here's why I say I was once a part of that. Yes, I come from a family of preachers. My dad, my grandfather, my great grandfather, they were all Baptist preachers. My uncles, my great uncles, my cousins, evangelists. They were all pastors, you name it. But at that time, bro, for me, I had a lot of growing to do, and I really did not know what I know now. And it took me going through so many changes in my life. And a lot of it was self-inflicted, was because of my own foolishness and my own stupidity, my own me being hard-headed and being very disobedient to the Holy Spirit, man. It got to a point where I was abusing alcohol. I admit it. Not one of the best times, not one of the best periods in my life, but I did it. I used alcohol as a coping mechanism because my mom at the time was very ill and she was in the hospital. And I spent the last 2 years of her life in the hospital with her. And whenever I could get away from the hospital and took a break, one of the things I did, alcohol, alcohol. My prayer life was not as strong as it was. My faith was weakened. I was not as obedient like I should. And that's why I'm able to tell any man, any woman that if you're abusing alcohol and if you are abusing drugs or whatever else that you're doing, anything that's explicit, that's illicit, you can come out of that snare and you can come out of that trap. But you have to be the one to make that decision to come up and out of it. Because if you don't want to help yourself, nobody else is going to help you too. You know, I know that when I was much younger, thinking about it now, I was not as stronger as I was. I was not as strong as I was. I was not as knowledgeable as I was. And for a time, I was really going through the motions of things. The Bible was not in my heart and in my mind. I really wasn't trying to seek the face of the Most High at all. You know, um, it really took me losing my father in 2009. It took me losing my wife in 2013, and it took me losing my mom in 2018 to get to this point. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be the first one to admit it also. I'm grateful that I now know better and I care to do better. But I realize that and I'm not alone in this. A lot of things that I'm now doing in my 40s, I should have done in my 20s. And in addition to that, there was a lot of things that I learned in my 30s I should have learned, and as well as I should have listened to my elders. Because I'm now, like I said, I'm now starting to do in my 40s what I should have done in my teens and in my 20s. You know what I'm saying? So, in addition to me realizing and recognizing the very darknesses that exists in not only the Christian church, but the world itself, the world at large. It's like, for me, I know I got to do better. I know I got to be better. And I choose to do better. If nobody else is going to be pleased with me, I choose for the Most High to be pleased with me, because at the end of my life, I got to answer to Him. And while I'm living on this earth, I've got to live with myself. Now, it's easy for me to go right back into Christianity and go back into these churches, but I refuse to do that. And one of the reasons why I choose to do that is because, and this is just some reflections, you know, in my years of ministry, I discovered that these Christian churches, they have a very dangerous insurance policy. And the insurance policy that they have is that they are absolutely protected from anybody suing them for sexual misconduct, whether that church is guilty of it or whether that church is not guilty of it. That is the kind of insurance policy that these churches have. And anytime that you are going to support and you're going to enable pedophilia, and you're going to allow that sexual predator to get away with violating your child, that is one fellowship I do not need to be a part of. And I mean that from my heart. I don't need to preach in your pulpit, because I'm more content from preaching from right where I'm at, right here, right now. And I have a clear conscience, and I know that I am not supporting any kind of pedophilia. I'm not enabling pedophilia on any level. That's how it is. That's how it is with me. Real talk. That's exactly how it is. And during my start in ministry, I know for a fact that times were rough back then, but it was nowhere near as tough and as difficult as it is now. I mean, it's to the point now that this is the wild, wild west. I mean, right is wrong, wrong is right. And when I was a young licentiate minister, that means when I was licensed to preach, I wasn't ordained yet, but I was only licensed to preach. And I was studying scripture. I think about it now. Um, I never thought that I would be a living witness to what I've studied for well over a quarter of a century of my life. You know what I'm saying? I never thought that when Paul says, um, perilous times shall come, and people will be lovers of pleasure more than the lovers of the Most High. Um, and men would be giving up their natural use of a woman, and women would be giving up their natural use of a man, and they would be turning to each other. And the reality is, the reason why there is an LGBTQ community right now is really because those poor souls were violated as children. You cannot tell me anything different. You cannot tell me anything different. I mean that. A lot of the LGBTQ community, they were violated as children. And when they came to their guardians who were supposed to protect them, they turned them away. They allowed for the abuse to continue and to ensue. And they knew what was going on, but they chose to have their children turned out. See, a lot of them knew what's going on. A lot of them knew. But the fact is, they didn't care, bro. They didn't care. Brother Zachariah says righteousness and truth is the only way. Absolutely. Absolutely. He continues. We in it right now, spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah. Yes, we are. I said before we got back into contact, bro, months back, I said that we are smack dab right now in the middle of a spiritual civil war. I said this. I said that we are smack dab right in the middle of a spiritual civil war. And we are. We are smack dab right in the middle of a spiritual civil war. It's gotten so bad now that in addition to this being modern day Sodom and Gomorrah, street preachers are being attacked. I'm gonna be straight up when I say this. To all street preachers, man, y'all better be careful when you going out here in these streets and you're reciting Bible stories, making it relevant to life today. You better be careful proclaiming the word and echoing the truth, because there are people out here that will attack you without a second thought. You better have some protection. Now, I'm not an advocate for violence, but I am an advocate for self-defense. And not just these street preachers, but if you are a true mouthpiece of the Most High, you better have some protection with you. And those of you who are going in these Christian churches and you telling people the truth, you better go in there and protect yourself. Because look at what's been going on over the last decade, at least the last decade or so. That mass shooting in that AME church, where those 9 people lost their lives, man, y'all better start carrying protection, bro. And I will say again, I am not an advocate of violence, but I am an advocate for self-defense. Brother Zachariah says, these devils be ready to kill you for telling the truth. Man, I'm trying to tell you. They do not need a reason at all to take people out. They will take people out just because. They will take people out just because they echo the truth. I'm telling you, man. And as bad as times were back when I was born, because I was born in 1983. I was born during the the era and the time period of the crack cocaine era. I was born during a time when things were so bad. You had bullet cases or bullet shells all over the streets. You had condoms all over the streets. You had dog feces all over the street. You had all kinds of illicit things jumping off. You did. You did. It was dark. It was dangerous. It was vile. It was cruel. And see, I came along when you had to preach. This was long before I was even a preacher. You know what I'm saying? Long before I was a preacher. I came along where you had to have talent. And they didn't sugarcoat nothing with you. They didn't sugarcoat the gospel. They didn't water it down to make people feel good. They told you the truth, 100% proof. And if you didn't like it, oh well, too bad. That's just how it was. It is 47 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock here in Brooklyn, New York. And this is a special podcast presentation of the House of Bread Ministries. I am your man, Joseph Isaiah Benjamin. And I am sharing with you my reflections of my years of ministry. And believe it or not, August the 14th will be 26 years. It'll be 26 years that I have been in ministry. And let's see what Brother Zachariah says. They sure will. Look at him. Comments on a lot of my listen. I see the observations. I see how they get with you, man. I remember not too long ago, I had posted a status about me opposing abortions, and I had opposed not having in the right time. It's not a good idea having a family because the world itself is so weaponized. Boy, the hellions came out that day, boy. I'm telling you, they came out that day. Yes, they did. So, Brother Zachariah, you know what I'm talking about because you grew up in a strict apostolic truth. So you know what I'm talking about. And those old school preachers, those pastors, those elders, those bishops, they did not play. I know they didn't play in those Pentecostal churches. And the preachers that I was around in the Missionary Baptist Church, those cats didn't play at all. They didn't play with nobody. So you and I are on the same page when it comes down to you and I both being around men, not weak, wimpish, watered down preachers that preached the watered down gospel. They were raw. They were unapologetic. They preached gospel sermons that were straight, no chaser. I know this because my father was one. And my dad started preaching when he was 11 years old. So my father, when it comes down to ministry, bro, honestly, He was my drill sergeant. I ain't gonna hold you. He was my drill sergeant. Yeah, brother Zach. Yeah, man. He says, I know they did. I know exactly what you're talking about. They sure did, man. They did not play, man. They did not play. They did not play. The missionary Baptist preachers that I was around, and I'm talking about, these were preachers. They were already in their 50s, 60s, and 70s when I came along, and even before I uh, I became a preacher. Man, these preachers, they didn't play. And my father took me around preachers when I was a boy. My father took me around preachers. That was the best. See that? Brother Zachariah says he started when he was 9 years old. Listen, man. So listen, I know. So you know definitely what it's like to be a boy preacher. I started when I was 17. I started when I was a teenager. You started when you were a lad. You started before adolescence. So I know for a fact you definitely know. You know what's up. We both know what's going on. And see some of that same old school mentality. It was drilled into our consciousness. It was drilled into our mind. See, my father not only was a preacher, but he was an educator also. And he taught me, he said, son, two of the most important things you'll need in this world. You will need faith and you will need education. He said, because faith and education are the two chief cornerstones of the known world. That's what my old man taught me. My father was a preacher, but he was also a seminary president. My father was a seminary president and he was a teacher. He taught in seminary and he was a seminary president. So you know for a fact that old man of mine did not play. I told y'all, my father was my drill sergeant. He was my drill sergeant. I was doing things and I was observing my father doing things long before I was called. See, and I have to be honest and say I was called because ministry is not a career. Ministry is not a career. It's not entertainment because you're dealing with things that are spiritual. You're dealing with things that is spiritual. And when you deal with things that's spiritual, you deal with things that's salvific. It ain't fly by nights. Ain't nothing fly by night at all. You know. So when people are always talking about, this is my career and all, nah, nah. And see, when I was going into these Christian churches, I was looking to be preached to. I was looking to be taught. I was not trying to be entertained. Excuse me. I wasn't looking to be entertained. I was looking to be fed. But as I grew older, I really began to see that these preachers, they really ain't about that life, bro. They're just religious atheists. They're just religious atheists. And I got that phrase, that phraseology, religious atheist, from a YouTuber by the name of the Bible Conservative, I believe his name is. I got that phrase from that young man. And the way he was encapsulating his thoughts and his beliefs concerning the modern day preacher that is engaged in politics instead of principle. The fact is, when you have people that chooses popularity, when they choose popularity over principle, that's a serious problem. And so, like I said, I would much rather be sitting here in my room in front of the camera, in front of this mic, and proclaim the truth and still have my own peace of mind than to be a sellout like the rest of these preachers. See, a lot of these preachers with these mega churches, they sellouts, man. They sellouts. I know they're sellouts. They are nothing more than a bunch of whole sellouts, bruh. They're whole sellouts. You really think that these preachers, they got these churches, man? You really think they got these churches honorably and respectfully? Nah, man. They didn't get these churches the way they should have. Nah. Nah, man. They didn't get these churches, honorably. They didn't get these churches respectfully. Nah, man. They prostituted themselves. They prostituted themselves. They did. There's another good brother, Brother Eric. Good to see you, man. Appreciate you for joining. That's Brother Eric right there. Shout out to Brother Eric. Appreciate you. That's Brother Eric right there. Good to see you, man. Thanks again. And so, look, because I'm thinking about it. These mega church pastors, they got beautiful churches too, man. These churches are not, storefront ugly churches. They're beautiful churches. They're beautiful edifices, without question. But you got to ask the question, how did you really get that church? How were you able to get that kind of bread with these kind of churches? How are you able to get these kind of churches with the kind of bread you get? Because honestly, real talk, you know as well as I do, they sellouts, man. Yeah, the church buildings is beautiful, but does your spirit match just how beautiful they are? Good evening to you too, sir. I appreciate you for joining. And so you got to preach a watered down gospel, and you can't tell people the whole truth. You can't do it. At least when I was coming along as a boy, preachers told the truth. And preachers didn't care if you got offended. I don't care if you were missionary Baptist. I don't care if you were apostolic, Pentecostal, whatever. Preachers back in the day, they preached the truth. They told the truth. That's real talk. They preached the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's how it is. And the fact is, preachers ain't preaching the gospel no more. They're preaching gossip, but they're not preaching the gospel truth. They're preaching gossip, but not the gospel. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap this up when I say this. When I was a boy, I knew for a fact that, now thinking about it, I knew for a fact that everybody was not who they say that they were. And you had a lot of the old preachers that understood that they weren't going to be around forever, right? And albeit they understood that they were not going to be around forever, they also understood for a fact, that they had to get the next generation of preachers prepared and groomed and ready. Because if they didn't, then it would be disastrous for them. It would be disastrous for them, because our blood, both as a young licentiate, both as a young minister and everything else, will be on their hands. Now, the next time, most high willing, we come on the air, here's the deal. I'm going to talk about some things that most people really are afraid to talk about. And one of the things that I think a lot of people are afraid to talk about are these loose women out here. And not only these loose women out here, but a lot of these effeminate acting dudes too. Because here's just a preview of what I plan on talking about next time. See, back when I was coming along as a young preacher, preachers were married. And if preachers weren't married, they were getting married, right? But I don't remember it being nowhere near as bad back then like it is now. I don't remember it being as bad. I don't remember that. I mean, everything that used to be taboo back in the day when I was coming along as a boy and as a boy preacher, everything is just wild and out now. It's just wild and crazy right now. Now, the Bible does teach that a man should not be alone, but it also teaches how a woman should conduct herself as a wife. And when we as a collective really started seeing things and really started studying the history of the rise of the single parent household, 1970. This was 2 years after Dr. King's assassination. Because remember, Dr. King was assassinated in 1968. We started seeing the rise of the single parent household 1970. That is when the government started infiltrating the homes where you had fathers, and the fathers that was in the homes were men, and they were most high fearing men. They were Bible believing men. Not now. But we're going to delve into that a little bit more. See, when I was a boy growing up, and I'm almost finished, when I was a boy growing up, a man was a man, a woman was a woman. There was no in between. The alternative lifestyle, as it were, it was completely taboo, and they were largely ostracized. Not now. Definitely not now. See, back in the day, when I was a boy, right? When I was a lad and I was a boy, the fact is, you didn't have all of these women wearing these hair hats, being wearing heavy on the makeup. You know why they didn't have that kind? Where women are wearing these hair hats and heavy on the makeup now. You know why that wasn't popular back then? Because back then, that was the attire of prostitutes. That was the attire of prostitutes. And back in the day, men were not triggered by a woman wearing certain attire. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna put it on audio right quick, and I want y'all to listen to this very, very carefully. Don't worry, it's not profane, but it does hit home. Take a listen. Listen to this. Let me make sure I got it right before I go on so y'all can hear this. All right. Here we go. Listen to this. thing I found very funny. If you are a man that was born in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, and definitely before that, the reason why you are so triggered by heavy makeup, lashes, and long wigs is because that's how hookers used to dress. Just like that, every day. And it was a disguise, in case you ladies don't know that. It was a disguise. So that they could take off that disguise and walk around the next day to the grocery store with their children with some level of dignity. But no self-respecting man was seen in the daylight with these type of women. And RuPaul. It's giving RuPaul. That's what RuPaul in the androgynous community, that's how they used to dress every day. That's how I used to be walking around LA just looking just like that. And now y'all dress like that every day.
Now, you can't get mad at her. Well, you can get mad all you want, because where's the lie? The androgynous community was taboo. It was taboo. It was taboo. But at the same time, preachers back in the day and evangelists back in the day, when I was coming along as a boy and as a boy preacher, they did take the time out to witness to them concerning their lifestyle. Whatever happened to witnessing to these people? Oh yeah, that's right. They'll 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 attack you. They'll call you homophobic and the whole nine. Yeah, I get it. But I'll say this. The fact is, things were totally different back then than they are now. But I also want to say that as difficult as it is to preach and teach and facilitate the truth, there was a time when it was preached and taught and facilitated with love for the Most High, respect for the Most High, love and respect for the people and the congregations. See, everything wasn't as bad back in the day like it was now. And what I've learned is that you can't preach the gospel, dogmatic. It's very, very difficult not to do at times, because they will test your patience. I promise you, they'll test your patience. Real talk, they will test your patience. But man, there was a lot more love, there was a lot more respect, and there was a lot more honor than it was back in the day. And hopefully, we'll get back to the way it was, certain things, especially when it came down to the truth, before things will get worse. Thank you for listening to me. Peace, power, and blessings be upon all of you. I come to do no one no harm. I only come to share with you my reflections in ministry. what my beliefs and convictions are now. And I'm going to delve more deeply into you, or delve more deeply with you when it comes down to my personal struggles and how I was able to overcome it. Not just with the alcohol, but with low self-esteem, an inferiority complex, how I was able to finally cope with the death of my wife after I suffered a horrific nervous breakdown, and much more. Thank you for listening. Peace, power, and blessings be upon all of you. Thank you for entering the dojo tonight. Shout out to all of the Ronins of the Ronin Nation. Shout out to, most importantly, the Hebrew Nation remnant. And shout out goes to all of you. Thanks for listening. Peace, power, and blessings be upon all of you. Until we meet again, enjoy the rest of your evening. Shalom Aleichem.
It's been a good day. I thank the Most High for it. It's been a good day. I thank the Most High for it. I've had some ups and I've had some downs. I've had some sunshine and rain. I've had smiles and some frowns. But you held me through it all. You kept my feet on solid ground. When the tears came down, you still brought me around. It's been a good day. I thank the Most High for it. Oh, it's been a good day. Oh, I thank the Most High for it. Good day. Good day. Good day. Good day. I still praise you for it. Good day. Oh, good day. I thank you for it. My friends have passed away. Family has gone to the other side. But I still thank the Most High for another good day. If I had 10,000 tongues, I could never thank Him enough. I thank Him for my health and strength. I thank Him for lifting me up. You kept my heart in line. You kept my mind at rest. When my road got dark, you knew what was best. It's been a good day. I thank the Most High for it. It's been a good day. Oh, I thank Most High for it. Good day. Good day. Good day. Good day. I still praise you for it. Good day. Oh, good day. Oh, I thank you for it. When the child.